What's up, Lycans? My name's Ollie, and today we're going to take a look at this. Okay, it's probably a little bit over dramatic. Today we're going to take a look at the various tuck spots on the 3 ships, along with a few tips on how to know if someone is tucking on your ship in the first place. Before we dive in, we're almost a quarter of a way to hitting that 1,000 sub goal, so if you enjoy my content and want to see more, consider hitting that sub button and turning on notifications. If you know of any other tuck spots that I missed, let me know in the comments below. I'm going to leave timestamps in the description so you can skip to another ship if you're only interested in one particular ship. So let's start with the Sloop and work up. Sloop doesn't have a great deal of tuck spots to talk about. You have your common cannon tuck, which is shown here. Skinny pirates can tuck in this little corner by the voyage table. You can sometimes get away with a tuck behind the map table. It's a little obvious, but I have tucked here in an emergency before. Just expect to get caught. Below deck has a couple of spots in between these 2 boxes, can sometimes work if you have dark clothing and the lights are off. Another one I've pulled off for an absurd amount of time is using the deck hide emote behind this barrel here. There's the obvious crow's nest tuck. If you do carry kegs, which I completely don't recommend at all, always move them when you do a tuck check. A big mistake I see a lot of people making is not questioning why they can't walk through certain objects like a piece of loot or a keg. I've literally been tucked inside a couple of merchant items and the crew didn't realise I was there despite bumping into me a bunch of times. Which leads to a tip: if you can't walk through a piece of loot or a crate, someone is tucking inside it. So when you do check the crow's nest, if you've got anything in it, move it out of the way, check if there's anyone underneath it. Big spot that catches a lot of people out, and it's my go-to if I do tuck, is the canopy tuck. This is a good spot, but a tricky one to get out of in a pinch and get into in a pinch. What you do is nudge yourself forward, like I'm doing now on the screen, until you drop very slightly. From there, use the hide emote and you become essentially invisible. There is a great way to check if someone is doing this, which we saw at the start of this video, and it doesn't really alert them that you know that they're there. You go to your map table, spin 180 degrees from behind it and look up at each corner. You can blatantly see if someone is tucked there. Now onto the Brigantine. Probably the toughest to go undetected on, in my opinion. Again, we have our cannon tuck, just with a few more cannons to hide behind. I generally go for the front cannon on a brig, as people have a little less reason to walk this far down the ship. The crow's nest tuck is the same, and my comments from the Sloop section hold here too. Below deck, you can hide between some of the chests, but it can be a bit of an obvious one. The deck hide behind the map table can sometimes work. The main one people use on a brig is a wall hide behind the curtain on the bed, as I'm doing now. Another tuck that can work is behind the voyage table, but it's quite easy to spot people here. Bonus is people don't come back here on a brig very often. People do like to store loot down here, so be careful. The biggest pain I find is you're generally cornered on a brig if you do get spotted. There's a bit of a funny tuck. You can half glitch yourself into a spot along the hull, walk up this ramp, and you'll notice your character drop inside the hull slightly. Use the hide emote and you're kind of hidden, right? And then there's the Galleon. The Galleon is by far the easiest to hide on. It's not impossible to get found and then just re-hide while people are diving around trying to fight. We'll start at the top deck and we'll work our way down. We've got the usual cannon and crow's nest tuck. On a Galleon, you can fit your character behind the wheel and use the hide emote. I like this one as it gives you a good view of what's going on. Inside the captain's quarters, you can hide behind the captain's chair, behind the door. Crews do like to leave loot in here, so you can always tuck inside that. Outside on the balcony, you can tuck yourself into the corners here. Or exactly the same, but around the other side. Galleon has these planked areas along the side that you can jump onto. A deck hide emote on these is a pretty common spot for tuckers. People normally check this back one that I'm on, showing you how to do this tuck. People rarely check the other ones down the side of the ship. Not a huge amount of hiding places on the mid deck. The most common one is behind the stairs, tucked beside these barrels. Other than that one though, I've not seen or found any better places to hide, unless there's storage crates or loot lying around, and then you can hide inside the loot. Below deck, I've seen people tucked behind the stairs here. It's not a great place, as anyone with half a keen eye will spot you, but I have had this work before. Alongside the brig can work if you use the hide emote and get yourself right into the corner of these barrels. And at the back or front of the ship here can also work tucked right up against the barrels. And that's basically it for the ships. A few tips quickly on how to know if there's a tucker and how to check for them. The obvious one is the mermaid. See a mermaid around your ship, check every spot I've talked about in this video. A good tip, if you do find them and you're not massively confident with your PvP skills, don't immediately jump on them. Inform your team, let them know where they are, gather up and rush them quickly. Another tip is to pull out your lantern, hold it up to check on the tuck spots. It will highlight people even if they're in the sweatiest of tuck outfits. Another obvious sign, as I've spoke about a little bit earlier in this video, is if you can't walk through a piece of loot. I tucked on a sloop once in a rush. I did the hide emote in a storage crate that was just in front of the food barrel, and I kid you not, the guy walked around the wood barrel to get to it as he couldn't walk through me, and I was blocking his access to the food barrel. If you spot this kind of thing, just sword swipe or shoot the area and you'll likely hit someone. The last thing to talk about and to bear in mind with the introduction of the barrel hide emote in Season 2, if you see a barrel that's slightly bigger than a normal barrel, or you can't interact with it outside of the few outposts that you can't, then it's a player. So me personally, I find tucking boring. I run out of patience too quickly and I try and do bizarre stuff to try and make it entertaining. My biggest passion is ship battles. If that's something you'd be interested in watching, you can watch live on Twitch at Lycan Ollie. That's it for today, guys. As always, take it easy, stay safe, and we'll see you on the seas.